SoFi stock has been on a huge run over the past few weeks. In fact, the stock is up more than 70% since I made this video where I went through why the stock is such a huge opportunity and why I was loading up on SoFi stock. SoFi stock hit over $11 in the past week for the first time in nearly 3 years. But the important question now is, can this rally continue? SoFi earnings is set for next week, and in this video I'm going to look at this in detail. This can prove to be a major catalyst for this stock, but I also have one major warning for all SoFi investors as we head into earnings. If you follow the stock, then you know just how much SoFi is growing, but for most of 2024, SoFi stock had been dropping despite the company doing better than ever and making better profits than ever before. So what's going on with SoFi, and have they finally turned the corner for good? Stick around to discover how you can make the most of this pivotal moment in SoFi's history. Now, we've got a lot to get through in this video, so I will try to keep this intro short, but if you find any value in this, can I ask you to smash the like button? It literally costs nothing, but it helps me out so much. I'm aiming to get 500 likes on this video. Help me achieve that goal. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on any new content like this. I want to point out that I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice, so always do your own due diligence. And try to answer the question later in this video, but for now, let's get straight into it. So SoFi is a fintech that offers a range of lending and wealth management services. The company primarily caters to early stage professionals and offers variable and fixed rate, parent, personal and MBA loans, mortgage refinancing and more. They create modern financial products and services that help people borrow, save, spend, invest and protect their money better so they can achieve financial independence and realize their ambitions, which could be owning a home or saving for retirement, paying off their student debt, and much more. So SoFi is a fintech company that is positioning itself as a one-stop shop for all your personal finances. Now, I see so many people commenting on SoFi, calling the company a startup and treating this like a company that was just founded, but SoFi was founded more than a decade ago in 2011. And a lot of people seem to be thinking that this company has only really existed since going public less than 4 years ago. But the fact is that this company was a decade old before it was listed on Nasdaq. It's still a growth company with huge potential and still at the very early stages and where you consider digital banking is at the moment. But this is not a risky startup that is only in its very beginning. This is well established. And fintech is one of the most promising megatrends which will disrupt the way we go about obtaining financial services. Fintech is projected to become a $1.5 trillion industry by 2030. The fintech sector currently holds a 2% share of the $12.5 trillion global financial services revenue. It's estimated to grow up to 7%, of which banking fintechs are expected to constitute almost 25% of all banking valuations worldwide by 2030. In 2022, fintechs on average lost more than half of their market value, but according to the research, this plunge should be considered a short-term correction in an otherwise long-term positive trajectory. So given the huge opportunity in such a huge industry, this leads on to a very simple question. How well is SoFi really doing? Now, if we look at the investors presentation for just a moment, we can see the new member additions has been steadily increasing quarter after quarter, as too new product additions and the number of Galileo accounts. In fact, there has been huge growth in lending products and financial service products over the past few years. Everything is pointing upwards for this company. In the last quarter, there was a slight drop in quarterly adjusted net revenue and quarterly adjusted EBITDA, coming from an insane increase the quarter before, and management has been very prudent with lowballing guidance for the coming earnings report. Now, although this is what management have guided for in Q3, I think we are all very well used to SoFi management lowballing their guidance. But there is a few things to note which I will speak about in just a moment. Now, looking back at the new member additions, I think we are looking at the best quarter of growth that SoFi has ever recorded. Last quarter, new members grew by 643,000. For this quarter, I'm expecting new members to grow by between 850 and 900,000, up to approximately 9.6 million members. Now, this might seem like very high expectations. After all, looking here over the past 18 quarters, SoFi have only added more than 600,000 new members 3 times in a single quarter. That means that in 15 out of 18 quarters, they have grown by less than 600,000. But I am expecting to see massive growth this time around of between 850 and 900,000. And I'm expecting to see similar growth for new product additions. Last quarter, this increased by 946,000, up to 12.77 million. I'm expecting this to rise by over 1 million for only the second time ever. Now guys, this is just my opinion based on everything that I've been seeing over the past year or so, but I expect products to jump to about 13.8 or maybe even 13.9 million. Again, this might look very high, but I would actually be surprised if this is not achieved in Q3. As for Galileo accounts, I'm not expecting any huge increases to be honest, or at least not this quarter. Now SoFi did recently make some Galileo related announcements, but that was very recently, but for now I'm expecting this to grow to about 165 million. That's nothing special, but just keeping in line with past performance. Looking at lending and financial services products, I'm expecting that once again, SoFi will have its best ever quarter. I expect the lending products will increase to at least 1890, up from 1787, which will be the best ever quarterly increase. While I expect the financial service products will increase to over 12 million. Now I'm sure that there's a few people watching this right now that think I'm nuts for saying that SoFi is not only going to have a great quarter, but it's going to have a record-breaking quarter on nearly every front. But I do believe that this is the case, and I actually believe that the numbers that I've just said are actually on the mid-range of what I expect. And I'd be disappointed if these are not achieved. But I do also strongly believe that SoFi needs to have a record-breaking quarter. As we've seen, it's not just good enough for SoFi to simply meet expectations, and especially after the run that the stock has had over the past 2 months. They need to smash their guidance. They need to smash analyst expectations, or else we will see a repeat of what we've seen so many times before, where the stock has ran up before earnings and then dropped after simply beating expectations. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Now for the financial performance, and this is what is really going to matter, and this is what will make the headlines for SoFi next week. If this is not good, then the stock rally is over for now. Now SoFi did guide for between 625 and 645 million in adjusted net revenue, whereas Wall Street analysts are expecting 633 million. But I think that due to the growth that I'm expecting to see, I think that SoFi net revenue will come in between 655 and 665, which is beating guidance by a little bit. But it would be beating the analyst expectations by about 5%, which is exactly what is needed. As for EPS, SoFi have guided for 4 cents and Wall Street is also expecting 4 cents. But I think that this is where SoFi smashes it. Now before anyone gets carried away here, I've seen some YouTubers suggesting that EPS will come in at as much as 15 cents this quarter. And I really think that's nuts. In fact, I've seen a lot of YouTubers, a lot of analysts, a lot of people on Twitter suggesting that the EPS will be around 10 cents. Again, I think that this is shockingly unlikely. I hope I'm wrong. Seriously, I really do. And I would love to see EPS of 15 cents next week, but I can't see how that's even possible. But I do think that they will beat on EPS, and I'm expecting to see 6 cents. I think that's the most logical based on the numbers, and even if they were to get 7 cents, that would just be unbelievable, but again, I feel that this is unlikely. But rest assured, if I see 15 cents next week, my jaw will literally hit the floor. Let me know what you think in the comments. Seriously guys, leave a comment. I honestly want to know what people think. And I'll make this really simple. Let's say 4 choices here. Will SoFi get EPS of 4 cents as per guidance? Will it be lower than guidance, say like 2 cents, 3 cents? Will it be 6 cents like I believe it will be? Or do you think that SoFi could realistically reach 10 cents or more? Leave a comment below. So with all this growth, where is SoFi going to be in a few years' time? Or where will the stock be in even just 1 year? Now we always hear the saying that the stock market is a way of transferring money from the impatient to the patient, which was very famously said by Warren Buffett. And wow, have SoFi investors needed to have patience. But now the stock is on the up, so I'm just going to point out some key things from this article. First of all, as we already know, the Fed has started cutting interest rates. The first was in September, and another one should happen before the end of the year. Lower interest rates should boost growth. And then considering more interest rate cuts next year, this is all highly positive for SoFi. Engagement is increasing and the lending segment is improving, which we've just seen from the massive growth in the earnings presentation. But lending revenue was up only 3% year over year in the second quarter. Now that interest rates are starting to come down, the business is likely to shift back in SoFi's favor, and SoFi is well positioned to jumpstart its lending business over the next few months. Specifically, it should be able to capitalize on renewed interest in student loans and refinancing. If it can do that, it should be able to grow at an accelerated rate at this time next year. We've been patient over the past year, even 2 years, but now it's time to get moving and see the stock recover to a meaningful value. Now, this article also points to rising revenues and profits, but we've already looked at that. And just one last point here I want to make about patience, looking at Nvidia. Nvidia's growth was so slow for such a long time. From 2014 to 2017, it was barely 50%. Again, from 2017 to 2020, barely 50%. But then over the past year, there has been exponential growth. It took years of patience to get to this point. And now you see all the posts online of people saying, I wish I bought Nvidia 5 years ago at say $3, or 10 years ago at say 50 cents. I'm sure that there are people who bought Nvidia back in like 2004. And by 2014, they were barely up 90%. Yet by 2024, they are up over 300,000%. Now, I know this is off topic, but I just wanted to make a point about patience. Because I can guarantee you that there's a lot of people that laughed at anyone holding Nvidia stock who were saying that this was going to be a millionaire maker. So what do you think about this? Are you bullish on SoFi stock? Or did you let bearish sentiment over the past few months affect how you think about SoFi? There is always a lot of talk on social media about SoFi, but always do your own due diligence. Remember that I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice, so always do your research. But if you enjoyed this analysis, then please like and subscribe. I hope you make a load of money on this stock. Follow me on Twitter and I'll